Dave McMurdo actually was the person who inspired my dad to become a missionary. John Jew, remember him? He was the associate pastor.
Yes.
Encouraged mom and dad to become Sunday school teachers. And mom and dad were always very decent people. They fit very nicely under the same umbrella as the Methodist faith. But they were actually more Sunday Christians when we started here. And in fact, I think it was coming from Sunday school that they learned that we should be saying prayers before meals. That came from here. And John Jew got my mom and dad to become the Sunday school teachers. And then Dad said, I feel like I've kind of accomplished the goals I set for myself. He was very capable and they were very modest. And so Dave McMurdo said, well, what would you think about going to Africa as a missionary?
When I came here in St. Mark's, I met my husband. There was a teen center. So John and I started dating about 68. And we were married in 69. Well, he became part of the missions, or he was the chair of the mission social concerns. So the Finsters were over in Africa at the time. So he had a campaign where they drove a Land Rover up on our church steps. And they had a campaign to make enough money to buy a Land Rover for the Finsters.
Well, it was so serviceable. And mom and dad lived ultimately, when we first went out there, they were hospital parents for 24 kids whose parents were at mission stations. And that was because my mother wasn't willing to be out in the bush with her kids in town. And then when we came back, they went way out in the bush. They were not at a mission station. They created a new one. And they had the Land Rover, and they had so many situations where a lady was pregnant and they were trying to get her 40 miles down to the Naidiri hospital, and they go over the washboard road in that Land Rover, and 20 miles later the baby's born. And the grandma gets out and she's got her little wrap around her and she's going, ay, 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 and everybody was happy, and they turned the Jeep around and went back. And there were just so many wonderful stories about that Jeep.
What year did you go to?
1960.
60.
Yeah. And then they stayed there till 85.
Mm-hmm.
My two older sisters and I each came back when we got to college age.
I remember Sunday school giving money to the Finsters. It was some kind of a milk carton or so. I could be wrong on that, but I remember, putting money in there to send to the Finsters in Africa. So
I was very connected to the Finsters in Africa. They were my Sunday school teachers for 2 years in a row. Not because I failed, but they moved on with us. And I just loved Bill and Esther, Mr. and Mrs. Finster. And my parents kept in very close contact with them most of the time that they were in Africa. My dad and Bill were good buddies here. But yeah, I knew those people who were in Africa. It was always very special to me.
The thing that is so amazing is how so many years later that name has recognition as much as it does, because this is such a phenomenal church. I mean, people that weren't here during the time that my folks were serving still had a strong sense of that name because of everything that people did to make it that be the case. So it's really impressive.
Well, that's the thing I'm the proudest of with St. Mark's. I am proud of this congregation and this church because of all those kinds of things.